I think for us, what was important was that we were independent. There's a freedom in what we are able to create. So our creativity is not dependent on a system that defines how things should be. So that was really our central premise, was to gain freedom to be able to express what we felt, how we thought, and what we believed in. Sustainability, yes, it's an important aspect, but it was not motivated by sustainability. I think that is more an idea that is fundamentally that exists, because the moment we work from an area where there's an ease of means, limited resources, ease of means, that you're not fighting the grain, or you're not resisting the forces, and so what we wanted to do was basically create our environment where we had the freedom from this resistance. So that really is the fundamental motivation in how all the work is produced, whether it's Palmyra or Copper House or some other project. That always remains as a central premise from where we work, or I would say our aesthetic is born from that idea.
Đang uy mà mắc. Trong đi. Sớm mình lo từ đây.
I think the central premise is independence in what we produce, and or rather in what we create is more specific. So here we're able to work from a hinge, a door, to a piece of furniture, to the space, and I think the interest is in some way to go back in the spirit of Eames, Corbusier, all the sort of Louis Kahn, these Bernard Rudowski. I mean, there's so many that go back into the 50s and the 40s, where they were able to produce a range of things, which all had to do with space at the end of the day. And so I think here we have the ability and the means to do it. So it's important that we take advantage of that. And again, it ties back into the sort of central idea of gaining independence, freedom of expression, understanding materiality. Because part of it is also for our own I think personal exploration. So it's not so much to make a commentary against mechanization or handmade. For me both are important, but I think what's more important is what it enables us to do. And if we have the ability to do that, or the means are there to do it, then it's important that we tap these resources. So I think that's really how it's come about. There's been no manifesto or an agenda. This has been an organic evolution. Again, purely going back to this idea of independence in creativity. So the studio is more a workshop studio. There's no separation between let's say drawing and making, and they're both seamless. So we can even produce something and then that goes into drawing. So this is, you can call our drawing office, or this is more like a research laboratory. and then things are made there on inside this shed where we have metal work and larger timber work is done out there. Then there are people making models out there, so it's quite fluid. The studio kind of keeps rearranging itself based on what's being built. Of course, right now it's the monsoon, so that's where there's a lot of covering around. But a lot of this disappears because we can then work outside for 8 months of the year, and we set our tables and our models and all that are actually outside. And then further down we have we've mocked up a space for a project we're doing in Japan, which is an exhibition in a gallery, and that's now turned into part of our studio. So it's actually very fluid. There's no boundaries in terms of how things are created or made. It can be from a drawing, can be from a material, can be from a color. So that's really what goes on out here. And over there we have lime tanks. We have bigger sort of plaster models when you walk in to the studio. And again, I look at it as a place it's a laboratory more than an architectural studio. It's somewhere between a traditional medieval atelier in Europe where things were made, Giacometti and those times when everything was tactile, and exploring it through climate, weather, materials, people, skills. So that's really what goes on here at the studio. happens below in the grass?
Change matti mein grass ke upar the grasses is slab
बरोबर है तेजाराम?
it's on or it's not on. Okay. Is it outside or is it the area?
और इसको पतला कर दें दोबारा.
Just check it out, let me know if you're recording.
So this is a temporary construction. This was done for a project in Tokyo that I was talking about earlier. It's an exhibition we're doing at Gallery Ma. So what we did was create the full-scale mock-up, and then people just sat within the space and used it as the studio. So we could authentically create the atmosphere of the studio in the space, and what we did was then pack everything that was produced in here, and it's transported. We're in fact fitting it out right now in Tokyo. But we continue now to use it as our studio space. Again, it's a temporary structure, but it is more to get the... we had the opportunity to create the real thing, and so rather than imagine it or put it on drawing, you know, it was much easier, and I just put them into the space. My responsibility was to build the space. I put them in here, and the rest was easy because it became more real, or no, rather it was real. So the way they were able to participate, modify, change, and it was an organic process again. It wasn't, you know, things that you don't necessarily think about. They just happen more intuitively. So I call these manifolds in a way, like they provide a template in which you know, one can actually produce work.
What?